Today, I'm going to tell you how 3 Japanese schoolgirls broke the entire genre of metal. They're one of metal's biggest acts, but the way they were treated, you won't believe how bad it got. 3 schoolgirls, singing pop, dancing in skirts. Every neckbeard in the pit said the same thing. This isn't metal.
Okay.
Forums called them an insult. Download Fest even banned them. But then, they did the impossible. They completely outperformed the bands who mocked them. They melted the faces of their haters, and they made the world bow to the almighty power of kawaii. And they held a mirror up to the metal world, showing them that they had become exactly what they never wanted to be. I'm Kane Irvine, this is the heaviest show in the universe, and this is the story of how Babymetal broke all the metal rules and won big. Let's dive in. So before the chaos, before the pyrotechnics and the growls from behind anime smiles, Babymetal began as a weird experiment. In 2010, producer Kei Kobayashi, known as Kobametal from here on, a lifelong metalhead with a pop industry job, had this unholy brainwave. What if we made tiny Japanese girls play extreme metal? Of course, everyone laughed, because it sounded like mixing Slayer with Sailor Moon, which is absurd. But Kobametal didn't care. He handpicked 3 students from a Japanese girl idol group. And I'm gonna butcher the shit out of the names here, but bear with me. Suzuka Nakamoto, Yui Mizuno, and Moa Kikuchi. And apparently Kobametal couldn't pronounce their names either because he shortened them all to their first name, plus the noun metal. For example, take Suzuka Nakamoto. She would be called Sue Metal, and they knew from the beginning she had pipes that could pierce armor. Moa Metal and Yui Metal had energy for days, precision dancers with matching charisma, and these girls had no clue what they'd signed up for. Sue Metal once said, quote, "We didn't even know what metal was. I thought it was just people screaming angrily."
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
Probably not something you want to tell metalheads, to be honest. And that would come back to haunt them, but more on that later. Clearly they didn't know the metal codes and rules, and so they just broke them. Kobametal built a mythos around them, a fox god guiding them to spread the gospel of metal to the world. It was theatrical, mystical, 100% Japanese, and made their live shows vastly different than the stoic statue-like performances of most extreme metal bands. Their first single, Doki Doki Morning, dropped like napalm. Cute, adorable napalm. Complete with double bass drumming under school bell synths. The video went viral in Japan. We're talking millions of views. But I mean, this kind of thing confused metalheads. The mainstream ate it up, but for gatekeepers, it wasn't quite love at first sight. Even though it was heavy, it was super catchy, and most of all, it was different. And rule number 1 about gatekeepers: if it's different, catchy, or tries something new, it's no good. But despite the gatekeepers hating on them, that spark became a flame. The girls hit bigger stages, performing songs like Megitsune and Gimme Chocolate. Suddenly, they weren't just a novelty, they were a phenomenon. But for every fan throwing horns, there were 10 old school metalheads foaming at the mouth. Western metal forums were war zones. They're not metal, they're corporate trash. Go back to J-pop. The elitists couldn't handle it. How dare something this cute invade their sacred genre? Adam Darsky, aka Nurgle from Behemoth, said flat out, quote, "Metal is not a playground for cute girls." Even Chris Jericho, wrestler, musician, all-around metal dude, I'm sure you've heard of him, put them in the walls of Jericho and stated, "It's not for me." And to mention the bizarre hate from even festival organizers. Andy Coping, the organizer of Download Festival, tweeted that Babymetal, quote, "didn't belong on a metal stage and will, quote, never play at Download Festival because I won't book them." And if you thought the hate from the West was bad, even the Japanese scene hated them. Quote, "Babymetal is not a metal band," says bassist of Japanese metalcore band Crossfaith Hiroki Ikigawa. The criticisms were not subtle. The girls were dismissed as an industry product and mainstream slop. Too choreographed, too feminine, too fun. Even Metal Sucks, which is admittedly the lowest bar for metal journalism, but popular nonetheless, even said, quote, "The detractors are right, Babymetal isn't metal, it's just theater." It's an elaborate entertainment spectacle engineered by the Japanese pop industry, writes Jeff Treppel of Metal Sucks. The critiques about not being real metal because of their appearance and kawaii sound are boundless. But if you thought the publications and Metal Legends were bad, the online outcry from metalheads was way worse. Quote, undeserving and talentless upstarts who haven't paid their dues and have the gall to sing in a foreign language they don't understand. The hate these girls received, unmatched in metal's history. I've barely scratched the surface of the terrible takes online about this band. We could go on forever. But while the gatekeepers screamed and moaned, these kids were doing what often separates the greats from the has-beens. Just straight up outworking all the other bands. And that's even without mentioning their Kami band. These guys were not just a backing track. It was some of Japan's top shredders. Leda, Takayoshi Omura, Bo on bass, and so many more. All absolute monsters. You could write a video just on these beauties themselves. Every live show was rehearsed like a military campaign. Perfectly timed headbangs, synchronized kicks, vocal harmonies over all types of different extreme metal riffs. Babymetal wanted them to stand toe-to-toe with anyone, and they did. Their first album in 2014 hit #1 on Billboard's world charts. But Billboard charting never really mattered to metalheads. And fair enough, who cares what a bunch of brain-dead normies think? But they still had to prove that they were worth it to the metal world. So Babymetal decided to do what every underdog in metal history has done. You win over the crowd, live and loud. And in turn, they would completely clown on all of the haters. But before we get into Babymetal's revenge arc, why do you think Babymetal was hated? Comment down below, tell me your favorite track by them. I'm ready for the flame war. Imagine being a 15-year-old Japanese girl, and all these basement dwellers in America are calling you a corporate shill. But you walk on a stage in front of thousands of people anyway. Babymetal's moment of reckoning came at Sonosphere 2014 in the UK, a field of black shirts with skeptical arms crossed. The crowd expected a train wreck, but when Su-Metal hit the opening scream of Babymetal death, the field erupted. Circle pits formed. Grown men in leather jackets started throwing up "V for victory" signs. They turned an entire festival from doubt to worship in one set. Metal Hammer, who previously said, quote, they were a complete gimmick, called it the most fun set of the weekend. That same year, they even toured with Lady Gaga, confusing the hell out of everyone, but proving they could command arenas anywhere and convert a ton of people to the metal world in turn. But they weren't done yet. In 2015, true metal god Rob Halford invited them to perform Painkiller and Breaking the Law with him on stage. And Halford later said, they're bringing metal to a whole new generation. I love what they do. Rob Zombie joined in the defense squad too. When fans called Babymetal a joke, he clapped back online. They're cool as hell. Stop being closed-minded morons. Even members of Metallica and Slayer praised their musicianship. Speaking of which, they'd even open for those titans at Heavy Montreal in 2014. Absolutely wild. But nothing is more based than what happened next. Remember that absolute nerd Andy Coping? The guy who previously said, quote, Babymetal will never play at Download Festival because I won't book them? Turns out, they didn't need Andy to book them for Download Festival. Because in 2015, during their set at Download Fest, Dragon Force surprised everyone by bringing the adorable trio out on stage to perform Gimme Chocolate. And the crowd went nuts. And Andy Coping was forced to go into a corner and live up to his name by huffing that goddamn copium and say nothing. Those girls absolutely cucked him. And from then on, Babymetal has played plenty of Download Festival stages. The same festival that banned them was now begging for their participation. Crowds that had once mocked them now roared their name. That was their "we told you so" moment, a cultural pinch harmonic straight to the face of every gatekeeper. And it wasn't just luck, it was talent, discipline, and complete disregard for what anyone thought metal should look like. And from there, the potential seemed limitless. There was no stopping it. After giving the middle finger to all the haters, they went on a global tirade of bringing metal to the masses. They became worldwide ambassadors for heavy music. They were the first Asian act to headline Wembley Arena. They shared stages with Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They collaborated with Dragon Force, Bring Me the Horizon, and Sabat, not to mention their modern day collabs that they've been on a completely amazing run of lately. Metal Resistance in 2016 charted worldwide, and critics who had once mocked them were suddenly calling them innovators. Babymetal proved that metal purity was just a myth. You could rip epic solo, double bass drum fills, and have bubblegum hooks, and it could still hit like a brick. They bridged East and West, uniting fans who never would have crossed paths otherwise. Kawaii metal wasn't just a subgenre, it became a movement. Bands like Love Bites, Bandmate, and Nemophila followed, showing Japan could shred with the best of them. But it wasn't always easy. In 2018, Yui Mizuno left the band due to health issues. Many thought this was the end. Instead, Su Metal and Moa Metal doubled down, evolving the band's story into a mythic saga with their album Metal Galaxy. They leaned into darker tones, cosmic visuals, heavier riffs, perhaps a reflection of their inner world with the departure of Yui Metal. The world tour sold out instantly. In 2023, they returned with The Outer One, conceptually richer, sonically heavier, and proof that Babymetal was not a fad. They'd outlasted their critics by more than a decade. And those, quote, not real metal comments? Yeah, those aged like milk, probably just like the gatekeepers that delivered them. That's a disgusting thought. So yeah, Babymetal was a joke, but the punchline? It was on the haters. They took every sneer, every eye roll, every gatekeeping forum post, and turned it into fuel. They showed that metal isn't about how you look, or how brutal you sound, or how unreadable your logo is. It's about rebellion, doing the thing everyone says you can't. And that's what metal has always been about, going against the trends. And that's exactly what they did. They went against the trends in metal itself. And whether you headbang to Rivers of Nile or Blood Incantation, or sing along to Give Me Chocolate, Babymetal reminded us that metal can evolve and still crush skulls. I'm Kane Irvine, this is the heaviest show in the universe, and remember, never underestimate the power of Q or the riff. Long live metal.